So I broke last night. I watched some YouTube videos before I went to sleep. Yeah. I just watched some of me and Dean's attempt to learn videos because I miss talking to him and it was nice to see our banter together. Some other things, I want to go outside so badly. This is my favorite time of the year and the weather is that cold and brisk, perfect fall winter kind of temperature, and it smells so good and the colors are so beautiful. I've basically just been leaning against the windowsill with my face against the screen, like sniffing the air like a fucking crazy person. So let's see what day 4 holds for us. Oh shit. Write a riff using the Omnibus Progression. The only thing is, I don't think my theory textbook is here, and I don't remember what the Omnibus Progression is. So yet again, I need to turn on the internet, find out what that is. The Omnibus Progression is a special type of chromatic sequence in which the bass and another voice in the texture move in contrary motion. The Omnibus Progression is used to prolong dominant harmony, but it can also be used as a means of modulating into distant keys. Example 1 shows the prolongation of a dominant 7th chord via a voice exchange between the leading tone in the soprano and the root of the chord in the bass. So I have a choice of convergence or divergence with the chromatic line, so I'm just gonna do my chords and then work with that. Hello, I'm jumping in here to out myself for being an idiot, I guess. Once I started editing this video and I was looking at this omnibus chord progression I made, I realized I think I did this wrong. So I went back and I reread the definition, and there's something that I just totally glanced over. I don't know how I didn't notice this, but right here. The only voices that are moving are the ones involved in the voice exchange. The other voices remain static as common tones. If you see in this example here, D, 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 F, 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 the only things that are moving are the chromatic outer voices. I didn't do that. And if I had done that, there would really not be many ways to do this. You would basically choose what key you want it to be in, and then you choose if you're doing the converging or the diverging, and then you decide how long you want to do it for. Like, they show from a 5 once you get to the same dominant chord again, so that's kind of how you do it. So I went in Guitar Pro and I did it in 2 different keys to see if I could understand it. So this first one is in the key of D minor, and the chromaticism is converging. So the first chord would be a 5-7 in the key of D minor. That would be an A7 chord. So that's what we got, A, C sharp, E, G. And then you hold the E, Gs over. And then the next one, you have a German 7 chord, which I realized is just a dominant chord built off of the minor 7 of that scale. So in this case, in the key of D minor, it's just a C7 chord. But they call it a German 7, and you interpret the E as the root, I guess, because they're saying that these German 7 chords are extensions of the 2 chord here, even though it's, like I said, it's just a dominant chord built off of the minor 7. But I guess we're interpreting it as like a weird kind of 2 diminished chord for whatever reason. And then you just have a normal minor 2 chord, and then you're back to the same C dominant 7 or this German chord, And then you're back to your normal 5/7 chord, your dominant 7, this time in an inversion. And then I also did it here in G major with the chromaticism diverging. That's bothering me to look at, so let me fix that there. In G major, our 5/7 chord would be a D7. So that's what we have here. In this one, it's in first inversion. And then again, the A and the C are going to be your common tones, and then you just do the chromaticism moving away from each other. So then the next one again is that German 7 chord, so it's just looks like a dominant 7 chord built off of a minor 7 scale degree, so that would be an F dominant 7. And then the third chord again is just a normal minor 2 chord, and then it's the same German 7 chord here, just in a different inversion, and then you're back to a normal 5/7 of G major. Yeah, I'm stupid, I guess. And for the rest of the video, I'm going to be talking about how the Omnibus Progression has so much freedom to do so much stuff, and I complained about how it was really difficult to make something that I liked, and it's because I did it entirely wrong. So this video is not the Omnibus Progression, it's just some wacky chromatic progression that used lots of types of dominant chords, I guess. Anyways, I hope you enjoy it. Sorry, I'm dumb. Anybody looking to purchase some land? Because I have a few extra acres right up here available. Yep, that's my cheesy giant forehead joke. Let me fill you in on what has happened today, because holy shit, I spent all day fucking with this. It is now 6:21 p.m. Let me first explain what happened with the tab. I wanted to give myself a few options because obviously there's tons of different ways you could do the Omnibus Progression. So you can see it just sort of jumps all around D7, C#7, then a G7. So then for the next one, I wanted to challenge myself. Can I not only go down chromatically, but every single chord would be going down chromatically? So lots of different kind of ones. We got a B flat 7 with a sharp 5 there, so like augmented chord with a minor 7. I was just really trying to experiment. And then the last one I did, my favorite type of dominant chord is a dominant 7 with the flat 9, because aside from your root note, the whole rest of the chord is just a fully diminished 7, so it's a lot more dissonant than dominant chords. I personally am not too hot for dominant chords. So I was like, okay, can I do this Omnibus Progression and every single chord be a dominant 7 flat 9? And indeed it can be. So I had 3 options, and then I sort of had this rhythmic idea in my head, but jumping up and down maybe through all these notes and really trying to highlight the fact that we have diminished chords within. I started with this first one actually, and just plain old dominance. I was like, fuck, that is not sounding good. So then I moved to the second one, and I didn't even like that either. So then I moved to the third one, and I spent fucking hours on this trying to make it sound cool. And let me tell you, it doesn't sound cool. So I'll play it for you now, but this is not what I ended up keeping, just so you know. But this is where I was for many hours of the day. Some of them are okay and whatever, so I fucked with that for a long time, and then I was sort of hearing this other rhythm in my head, which was this. I like that, but just like, okay, how the fuck am I gonna turn that into this omnibus progression fucking thing, but this is a diminished, just fully diminished suite. So we have the diminished chord within these dominant 7 flat 5s. So with this rhythmic idea in my mind, I put every chord at the top here and then really tried, because the whole thing about the omnibus progression was the chromaticism in the outer voices, so whether they're converging or diverging, and mine are diverging. So I have to somehow stay within those ranges. In this one, my lowest note I just did with the open power chord, and then I have the major third here, and then this is the flat 9 element of it. I went through and I did that, and I made sure each diminished run was the proper one within each of those chords. And that took me a long time as well, because certain notes you would choose that were within your outermost notes just sounded so cheesy, and I was not into it. So I was really trying to fuck around, find a way to make it work. And then from doing this, there were a few that stood out to me as actually cool and I really liked. So in the end, I went and just tabbed out the few that I really liked and made some changes. And then just for my own personal reference, put what those chords are. So the first one changed entirely because it's the E minor sharp 4. Then we have a E7 with a sharp 9, so that's different. D sharp 7 flat 9, that one stayed the same, stayed the same, stayed the same. That's the one I really liked. And then a D sharp German 7, so that one we changed. We'll rewind here and we will listen to this one I made that is actually in the omnibus progression. So it's like some of the... Obviously I repeated this one because I liked how it sounded. I repeated that one as well. So yeah, it's like, okay, whatever. So then this ending thing where I just took the ones I like and made a riff. That's what I have recorded here, so we'll listen to the actual recording. The diminished sweeps, I recorded at half speed because they're crazy fucking hard, insane. So we'll just listen to it and then maybe I'll play along with the tab or something. I didn't memorize it, I just like read the tab and recorded myself reading the tab. Sounds so funny. I like what came out of it, but I think because I was trying so hard to stay within the omnibus progression, it took me an entire day to write one single riff that isn't even in the omnibus progression. So it's sort of interesting when you put these restraints on yourself creatively, how that also restrains your potential output, I think. At least for me. Now I'll try to play along with the tab. So obviously, like, the tremoloing is pretty straightforward. Getting like this minor third shape is hard to really nail. It's not an actual minor third. It's a perfect fourth in this case because we are in drop tuning. I did those fourths instead of fifths when I was trying to stay true to the chord, and I didn't want to have like a high fifth. I thought having a low fourth would be better, would be heavier. So yeah, that's the fourth day done. Also, sidebar, cooking and eating in absolute silence is soul deadening. So now it's 6:30, second last challenge is done, and I'm gonna spend the rest of the night video editing. Otherwise, I won't be able to film tomorrow because, again, running out of space. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you tomorrow for the last challenge.